Hello, buddy. San here, engineer, MBA, and investor. And in today's video, I want to talk about CRISPR Therapeutics business update for the second quarter of 2025, financial results, bunch of news here, a couple of things we want to highlight. And this was all released not today, but yesterday. And I told myself, you know what? I would make two videos yesterday, but I kind of changed my mind and I told myself I'll do it the next day, which is, of course, tonight here. So let's jump right into it, guys. So, this press release here, couple of highlights. Let's read off the highlights. Let's give our thoughts, and you'll see how it kind of correlates with some of the updates that Vertex gave for CASGEVY, which is, of course, their joint program for tackling sickle cell disease and beta thalassemia. So, update here, CASGEVY momentum building, over 75% of ATCs activated globally, achieving target goal, and 115 patients, so that's a squiggly line, which means it could be 116, could be 114, could be 118, around that number, have had their sales collected across all regions, positioning this program for a strong future growth. Second highlight here is the clinical trial of 310. We got some good data that was released in June. More data coming in sometime in the next month, second half of 2025. That means should be before November, unless they end up doing it at the last month of the year. So within the next 3-4 months, we should be getting much more data. And of course, so far we got some really good data that we covered in our channel. If you don't know what I'm talking about, look at our video catalog, guys. Back in June, I published a video covering the latest updates for CTX 310. CTX 320, which is targeting a different gene, still within the side of heart disease and so on, and we're supposed to be getting some update on the first half of 2026. So this is a 2026 play. Very, very bullish on that program as well. And we kind of move over to the next update, CTX 112 and CTX 131, which is, of course, their oncology program, basically trying to tackle cancer there. And we're looking at, of course, some data sometime in the second half of 2025, CTX 112. And of course, CTX 131 also updates in 2025. I want to remind folks that we are in August, guys, so we're 8th month of the year, believe it or not. Time goes really fast, so we're looking at just a couple of months remaining for this year. So lots of exciting data coming in from CRISPR companies, not just CRISPR Therapeutics. And TLA is supposed to be giving us some data here for their follow-up phase 1, phase 2 data, and of course phase 3 data for their HAE program. So I'm really, really excited, guys, for this remaining of the year, or at least the first half of 2026. We follow here EMA authorization of SRSD 107, and that is their joint relationship with, I believe, Sirius Therapeutics, the partnership that they had established. We also covered that partnership a couple of months ago, actually. So I'm really happy to see this is happening here. This is pretty cool. And of course, we finalized with a strong balance sheet, about $1.7 billion in cash as of June 30. So a couple of quotes here. Dr. Sam, CEO and leader of the company, said, and I quote, "We are entering the second half of the year with momentum across our board of commercial and clinical programs. The activation of 75 ATCs for CASGEVY has been achieved, marking a meaningful step in expanding patient access, while clinical trials across multiple other programs continue to advance. Looking ahead, we expect several key milestones, including the presentation of phase 1 data for CTX 1310, as well as updates across our oncology and autoimmune portfolios. Our focus remains on delivering transformative therapies for patients with clinical unmet needs." And of code. So let's just do a little bit of homework here for the CASGEVY here. They made a couple of statements here. So it is already approved in the US, Great Britain, EU, Saudi Arabia, the Kingdom of Saudi Arabia, Kingdom of Bahrain, Qatar, Canada, Switzerland, and UAE for both treatment of sickle cell disease and beta thalassemia. So Canada, of course, my home country, doing both sickle cell beta thalassemia for CASGEVY. So both of them are approved in all of these nations. So how many of this? Let's count, guys. So US, that's one, two, three, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. That's 9 regions, right? I'm saying regions because clearly UAE and EU is, of course, composed of many, many different populations, many, many different cities, and of course, in the EU case, many independent countries. So, really, really good news here. The big one, it was the 75 ATCs. That's pretty cool. That's pretty nice. We look at about 115 patients completed with the first cell collection, and 29 patients have received infusions of CASGEVY, including 16 from the second quarter. You'll see that how that correlates in just a second here. The launch of CASGEVY is building on strong momentum, positioning the program for significant growth and broader impact. And there's another quote here. Through reimbursement agreements, Vertex has secured access for eligible sickle cell disease and beta thalassemia patients in 10 countries. Recent agreements include Northern Ireland, Scotland, and Denmark. Guys, I'm kind of embarrassed, but I didn't even know Northern Ireland existed until 3 years ago, actually, when one of my business clients, he's from Northern Ireland, and funny enough, um, I was talking to him, and for whatever reason, I just said something like, "Yeah, you're from, folks from like you in Ireland," and he kind of stopped me. I said, "Hold on, why did you say Ireland?" I said, "Well, that's where you're from." He's like, "No, I'm from Northern Ireland," and that's when I kind of understood the history between Northern Ireland and Ireland. These are two separate independent countries, not to be mistaken. I learned my lesson, so nonetheless, here, let's get back on track here, guys. So, CRISPR Therapeutics here, they're trying to advance this program here. So there's a lot happening here. Now, the progress is obviously slow. A lot of people kind of disappointed here. I'm not gonna start covering every single other program here. I think maybe the viewers here for this channel can go on and read it. Just know that they're doing really amazing work with the oncology programs and autoimmune and the in vivo liver editing, which of course is all about heart disease. Well, I'm really excited for the heart disease programs, to be honest, especially with the fact that Verve's kind of no longer is independent. I think there's something said to be said there. It's a side of CRISPR Therapeutics. I think they can go and penetrate that market really well. Heart diseases are the leading cause of death in America. They're the leading cause of death in many regions around the world. And although people can say and scream till they have no air in their lungs, to be proactive and to eat well and to sleep and to reduce stress and to not eat too much oil and junk food. The truth of the matter is people are still going to do that, and you need to basically find a way to maintain that population, right? And right now, what they're doing is statins. They're talking about daily pill, daily injections, weekly injections, not scalable, very expensive. Like I said, it's just not really fixing anything. CRISPR has a way in, right? What if you kind of had this injection maybe once a year, maybe just one time, or maybe you kind of inject it before you even have any sort of heart disease, so you kind of become immune to it, right? We heard that from Verve a couple of years ago from Sec there, then CEO of the company. He said something along the lines that what happens if you kind of go through a injection that kind of makes you immune to any future heart disease down the line. So maybe in 10, 20 years you were meant to have a heart disease for XYZ reason. Well, now you have no more. So think about the cost, or rather the price that could be set on something like that, right? I think that's revolutionary. I think that's amazing. I'm very bullish about this program. And obviously, it's a couple of programs that are working on that. 310, we're looking at also 340, 450. So there's a lot of stuff there, but right now all eyes are on 310. And well, to be fair, all eyes are on CASGEVY for now for Therapeutics, but I think a lot of investors are looking at that. The market cap, rather the market target market is really huge for heart disease, a lot more than 40 million there. I think that's being very, very generous and conservative with that number. So guys, before we kind of end this video here, I do want to preface here, give a shout out to here as usual. He actually posted here, and I quote, in Vertex Pharma Q2 earnings report, it stated that CASGEVY, the first ever CRISPR gene editing therapy for sickle cell disease, has generated 30.4 million in revenue during the second quarter with 16 patients infused with CASGEVY, promising and of code. So you see there that is Vertex quarterly earnings report. Can't pronounce my words here tonight. So it's actually interesting because they do own 60% of the program, right? So they have to disclose these numbers for their shareholders, especially after they spent well over a billion, actually over 2 billion, I think, on the lifetime on this program. Could be even 3 billion at this point. They have to report these numbers, and they did, right? So this is pretty big, guys. 34.4 million in a single quarter with 16 patients dosed. Still very early. We're still very, very early, guys. Think about the big picture, right? I kind of always go back to this big picture. I think folks always forget, right? We're in this for long term, right? You're looking at these numbers, you cannot think too small numbers, right? You have to think bigger than that. And you kind of have to think that 16 patients infused by quarter two, so that revenue is going to come in the next quarter. But what if they can get 50 patients infused? What if they can get 100 patients infused? In fact, with 75 ATCs, which was their goal, with over 75, you can bet that they're gonna get a lot more than just one single patient per ATCs, right? It'll be kind of dumb to think, oh, they can only get one patient a year. I'm just giving you an example. One patient, even a quarter dosed per ATC long term. I think that's just naive to think that. Now, am I saying they're gonna get 100 patients per ATCs by next year? No, that's not what I'm saying. I'm just saying there's a play there for long-term thinking, and they're not going to build these ATCs for literally one person a year. That's just insane. Maybe for specific ATCs and maybe specific regions, they're just going to hit a single digit just because of needs and wants and whatnot, or whatever the government there in that region wanted them to do and so on. But to say that, you guys got to look at the big picture. That's what kind of what I'm trying to get at here. So, really good business updates. Again, do we have anything revolutionary here? Not really. I mean, these numbers 75, 115 patients, though, 16 in the last quarter. I mean, these are good numbers, but is it revolutionary? Revolutionary, not really, but it does grow confidence, right? It does grow confidence about CRISPR Therapeutics, grows confidence on Vertex, and most importantly, it kind of grows confidence on the CRISPR landscape, right? I really see this playing out. I've said it many, many times on X, on YouTube, on people with conversations in the meetup that I went to back in, I think it was in April. I went to that meetup with Meet Investing, and we had this chat with a bunch of people there. A great meetup too. Um, in fact, if there's any meetup, guys, on Toronto, please let me know. Or, I'll be willing to join those meetups. But just to end this video, like think about the long term, guys. You have to think about long term. Just think about what this company is doing here with CASGEVY, with their heart diseases program, in vivo liver editing, CTX310, whether that's CTX320 as well, whether that's their oncology programs, and of course their programs partnerships with companies like Sirius Therapeutics. Just think about that, guys. Think about the long term. Think about in the next 2 3 years. If you're in this space for the next 2 3 weeks, in my opinion, in my humble opinion, you're in the wrong space. But I don't give financial advice, guys. This is free information for all. You take what you need and you leave what you don't want. So, guys, thank you so much for watching. As always, please do subscribe. Do like this video, guys. I'm gonna get all these widgets and intro and music all back, guys. Like I said, it's a new laptop here, so I'm gonna do that when I have a little bit of time here. I just prefer to do it raw, no edits, straight to the news. I think a lot of our viewers love that, so I love it because one, it makes my life easier, and two, I just love talking raw, right? No edits, no cutout white noise, no retakes. I just love this type of format, guys. I think a lot of people do also love that. Yeah, I think a lot of folks are wanting authenticity, rather, um, rather than people like kind of editing out stuff, putting flashy logos, flashy thumbnails, flashy edits. I don't know. It's just not for me, guys. So, guys, I'll end this video like this. Thank you so much for watching. Have a great Tuesday night. I'll see you guys in tomorrow's video potentially, where I'll be talking about Beam Therapeutics' latest business update that was published just today. We got some good news for that. So I'll see you guys.